walking stick. All right, not too bad. All right, so just finished up the morning run. I was on Instagram talking about that, so I'm gonna go down here real quick, give you guys some nice scenery. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about trail running and some tips for you guys, and why I suggest that you guys just trail run as opposed to walking on flat surfaces. So part of this is because um, from experience, a lot of people, being a trainer and stuff, we're dealing with a ton of injuries in our business right now. And it's interesting to me that when I run on flat surfaces, my knees hurt, and when I run through trails, my knees get better, my hips get better, it opens up my ankles. It pretty much does all the natural stuff that we've been looking for. My goal when I teach you guys to live for longevity is to give you guys options and things that you can do that do more than just one thing. It seems like we live in a world where it's like, let's say you have a problem. You have one problem, so you go get one pill, you have one mindset. It's just a 1-1 fix all the time. 1 + 1 = 1 all the time. But what we need to do is realize, okay, well, I could do this one thing like trail running, or I could go do flat surface running. And the difference is, I think that they're both going to give you a cardio. You're going to get benefits in some ways. But the problem is that the flat surface, because you're not designed this way, again, like I said in the Instagram video, if you go back to my video, one of my videos with Dr. Myers, when we're talking about the feet, I think he talks about how, the bottom of the foot's like a tank. If you think about tread, our feet are supposed to be able to really mold to this earth, and unfortunately our feet are just molding to flat surfaces over and over and over again, and this is why it's like you're always trying to find the right shoe, because what you're trying to do is find a shoe that'll enable you to feel like you're walking on the earth, or allow your foot to kind of do that. So your body doesn't want to be stiff. It needs movement. It needs that pi movement. Remember, pi is a full circle, and phi is creating exponential curve, or using wisdom to move through the circle per se. So that's what we need to do, is we got to say, okay, we got the knowledge here of our body, and we want to increase our endurance, maybe, and you want to be a runner, and maybe you have knee pain or not knee pain, and I can understand it's hard. It's not like trail running is a thing, has so much. I'm gonna turn around and go back home before I get too far off track. It's not like trail running is a big thing. One thing that I would love to do once we start opening our longevity homes and stuff, and we build trails and stuff, we're gonna start having trail running, I don't want to say competitions, but we really want to get it to where it's like trail running is more of a thing than flat surface running. I mean, I can't tell you enough. When I think about humanity and what we're trying to do when it comes to like speed, like Usain Bolt's the fastest man in the world. To me, he's not, because he's wearing shoes. Like, I feel like if we want to know who the fastest person in the world is, we should go out some grass, get all these guys, take their shoes off. They can wear clothes, that's fine. If they want to wear as tight as they can to get as much speed, if they want to shave their legs, all that stuff, they can do whatever they want. But no shoes. Let's see how fast you really are with the feet that God gave you. But we don't do that. So what we're doing is we're making man things, and we keep adding man items, adding man things like the surface of the ground. And so we walk on all these flat surfaces all day, and then your guys' knees hurt, your ankles hurt, your hips hurt, your lower backs hurt. You can't activate your core, and it's because your body's not required to use any stability whatsoever. I mean, can you imagine a world that you could live in where if there was no flat surfaces really, if we kind of learned how to use technology and integrate it into the earth, not just like putting band-aids on the earth all the time. I mean, this stuff looks gross, no offense, but it's like, what am I walking on here? I mean, it hurts just to walk on the surface now, and I just got done trail running. And it's crazy, because even with the trail running, it's even if you're on a flat surface trail, like on rocks or something, it's still like 100 times more comfortable than the minute I hit this road. It's like my inside of my knees start hurting, where I'm having, inner fascia line, tightness, and imbalances on the outside lines from sitting. So, and all these lines are messed up. So my tip for you guys is that no matter where you're at in the world, do your best. If you're gonna go on flat surfaces, my suggestion, okay, you don't have to do this, would be that you only walk on flat surfaces. You don't run. Okay, don't create that impact on flat surfaces unless you're deciding that you want to be an athlete and that's what you want to go compete in. But I think that's what's interesting to me, is if you're not a competitor and you're not trying to compete and make money, what are you doing all this crazy stuff for? That hurts yourself. There's no reason to run and do all these things unless, again, you want maybe for a hobby sport, like you love to play basketball, which is a hard surface to work on. That's why these guys are dealing with so many injuries, right? Especially, imagine, like they talk all the time on ESPN about how back in the day they played harder. It was much harder of a physical game, but they had less injuries. And that's because the longer that we sit, as generation after generation, the more we sit, this fascia tissue is going to continue to try to help us and mimic this position, what we're trying to do, so that we don't, so it's trying to limit your pain. The problem is this situation doesn't work. This is why we know evolution, like if we're going to evolve into technology, it ain't working. This version isn't working. We're adapting incorrectly with all the text neck and all the diabetes, like all the problems. And just so you know, when you look at the statistics, there's more statistics on people deal with more pain than they do with weight. And if you think about weight being 70%, when you really start getting these numbers, it's pretty crazy that almost everybody's in pain from something physically. For the most part, there's very few people that I find that aren't dealing with some type of injury. And even major athletes, it's like every time it's something, and it's like, God, if I could just get you to stop sitting all day. You know, I watch these basketball games and I watch all this stuff, and they're always sitting on the side of the court. What a joke. You want to get better, stop sitting like a king. Like, you're not playing the king game. The king sits and watches the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't play the game, so why would you go play the game and then when you're off the court, go sit like a king? You're not the king. The coach is the king. Let him sit. You know, I mean, look at it that way, if anything. But, that's why I say the athletes I'm going to build, when we start building gyms and stuff, self-help fitness, we're going to build athletes that are different than what the world has been building, because we're going to take you guys back to design. And we're going to really encourage you to stop doing this worldly stuff. Not that you have to give it all up. It's not saying you can't drive cars and do that stuff, but it's saying that we just, it's really all about balance. When we do the seminar, the first hour, we're going to talk about Live for Longevity. It's a mental thing. It's a mindset. You have to have the mindset that the decisions that you make today are going to lead you to the right decision in the long run, and it's going to end you at your end time goal. Too many times, you say, like, I'm a bodybuilder, right? Like, not now, but let's say I was a bodybuilder, and let's say I'm 20 years old, and you say, well, I want to live to 120 and be a super healthy guy, but for the next 20 years, I'm going to do steroids and be a bodybuilder. Unfortunately, your short-term thought process, if you pound those steroids, now if you just used a little bit, maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal, maybe depending on what you use and if you were good with it and got good stuff, but let's say you hammered it, taking 10, 20, 30 shots a day in some cases. You start hammering steroids, and all of a sudden by the time you're 40, you may not make it to 40 in some cases. So you're gonna find that now you weren't living for longevity. You made a short-term decision to get big, and now you're not truly going to be able to get to that long-term goal, because the steroids effect on you most likely would be that detrimental if you used them that heavy and that long. So it's the same thing with running. You guys want to have, let's say you're a mom or dad, you're a parent, your worker, young person, old person, it doesn't matter what your goal is. Like, I don't care where you're at. If you want to have knee problems, you have ankle problems, hip problems, lower back issues and stuff, stop getting out on surfaces and walking. Walk in your yard barefoot. Because then, remember this, the earth gives off a frequency of 7.83 hertz, right? And so your brain gives off that same frequency, 7.83 hertz, and your heart's giving off a frequency, you got all these frequencies coming out of you, right? So when you touch the ground with your feet flat, right, you ground, it actually allows you to ground your body. So meaning that when you're in these shoes and you're on these flat surfaces and you're not touching the ground and you're not connected to the earth, then your energy gets binded up in you. And this is why when you go to touch metal, sometimes you go touch somebody and you shock them, that's a way you can know that you're too charged up. You got to go ground yourself. Anytime I haven't shocked myself in years now, and when I do, it's very rare, and it'll be something where we spend a whole day outside, we haven't touched the ground, like we've been doing something all day, and I'll get home and I'll touch something, I'll have all this energy bound up in me. But imagine most people go to bed, they never get that energy out of them, okay? And that energy sticks, and it sticks, and it sticks, and all of a sudden you're in shoulder pain, and this, and that, you know what I mean? And so this is why I tell you, one of the number one things that you're gonna find in the next 50 years that they're going to come to you and say, this is the number one way to fix your health, it's going to be touching this earth. This earth is the best thing for you. So again, trail running, if you want to do it barefoot, again, with trail running, I tell you guys to be cautious. If you got to start slow if you're dealing with injuries, because you don't want to break your ankle. My wife tore some ligaments in her ankle before I met her. We're trail running, so you have to be careful. So that's why I say start with walking. And if you're thinking, well, Kyler, I gotta run though. I gotta get my running in, and I can't run trails. Kyler, it just doesn't do it for me yet, because I'm not there yet to where I can run it. Then go run on your flat surface. I'm not telling you not run on the flat surface. What I'm saying is create balance. For every hour that you run on a flat surface, you really need an hour of trail running or more. Okay, and think of it that way. And I guarantee if you do, your hips are gonna feel a lot better. Your ankles are gonna feel a lot better. It's weird. So it's not weird, but it's weird because we were all taught differently, and we've just been made to think that man has all the answers. And now we're realizing that we keep making things, and sometimes things that we make really help us, and sometimes they really don't. So, all right, we're coming up on 10 minutes, so not too bad. We'll call it a day on the trail running. So remember, we're 58 days, I think, out from the first Live for Longevity seminar. We're gonna pound your guys' heads really hard with psychology, the first hour on what it means to live for longevity, because the key thing is if I get you guys understanding what it means to live for longevity, then I don't have to be your trainer anymore. Too many times we're, as trainers, trying to keep you guys with us and stuff. My goal is to teach you how to live for longevity so that you have the tools to make the right decision without me. Simple. You don't ever need me. Okay, it might take some time, and everybody's different. Some people I have to work with for a couple months, a couple weeks. Some people I work with for years. You got to take them through that process, So we're going to talk about that, what process you need to go to so you can understand where you're at. The second hour, we're going to talk about nutrition. And again, what does it mean to eat for longevity? Should you eat meat? Should you not? To me, I'm going to tell you the answer because you're going to like it no matter what side of this is drawn. I'm going to give you guys answers that every side is going to be happy about. Okay, because I'm not about clicks. I'm not about putting names on things really, other than my brand and stuff. We have to, but you know, other than that, I want to get away from us, you know, getting into clicks all the time, and we just got to get to the point where we say, listen, this is the mathematical design of how we were built. Pi and phi, here's the torus equation. This is what everything in life that you see is built on, this equation. So if you use this equation, not just in your physical life, but in your spiritual life, in your mind, oh buddy, it starts happening. So that's what we want. We want to teach you guys how to live for longevity, because we know that when longevity comes first, you get results to last. So it's time to become forever, you guys, and I really want to help you with this. So like my videos, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, I've only been doing this for about a year, and it's very awkward for me to be on camera and stuff. I think it is for a lot of people when we first start this, because you don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, it's like, man, I want to get this information to you guys. I really want to help you. That's all I do, is try to help people. So I love you guys. Have a great day, and may Yahweh bless you.